Well, good evening, people of St. John's. Well, just like last evening with Maundy Thursday, what follows is just a brief reflection on this evening of Good Friday, the night we remember Jesus' death on the cross. And as I began to think about that, one particular phrase has been coming up in my mind. It's simply the words, "In the midst of life, we are in death." That particular phrase is something that I heard lots of people saying weeks ago when we first learned about this pandemic. It's a phrase that actually comes from the 14th century, but we Episcopalians know it most well through our funeral liturgy. It's a phrase that comes in the form of a petition to God to deliver us from death, and it serves as a stark reminder that death is always with us and can come for us at any time. That reality is perhaps a bit more real to us on this Good Friday than it has been in the past. And as we look over our world and we see suffering, we're forced to ask why. And in our asking that question today, we have this image of Jesus on the cross, the ultimate symbol of suffering. And many of us may ask why. Why was that necessary? Of course, there are many theories as to why God purposed Jesus' death. The first is that Jesus died as a sacrifice. Of course, all this occurred during the Passover meal, as I mentioned in my reflection from last night. Like the animal sacrifices of the Old Testament, Jesus became the perfect sacrificial lamb that took our sins upon him. Sin demands a punishment of some sort, so Jesus took that punishment for us. Still others see the cross as a victory over death and sin. Some believe that the devil held some sort of right over fallen humanity. Jesus died on the cross to pay the devil's ransom, as it were, thus freeing us from the grip of the devil and the sting of death. Still others hold that the cross gave God the moral authority to forgive our sin. Humanity sinned by our own free will and fell from a state of grace. Humans, because we are sinful by our nature, were inadequate to pay for our sins, so God became man to pay the debt for us, thus giving God the ability to forgive us and eventually restore us to a state of grace with him. Finally, some people see the cross as a moral example. After all, Jesus said, "No love is greater than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends." The cross showed us how much Jesus loved us. Jesus rode into Jerusalem to teach humanity that God is a loving God, and Jesus knew that he would die, but he was willing to be the first to die for his gospel, a message of love for all people. So why did Jesus die on the cross? Well, perhaps it was for all these reasons, and maybe for some reasons we don't even know about or are unable to know. But we know this. We know that Jesus lived and died to show us the Father. And it is in the mystery of the cross that God's plan begins to be revealed. The cross then is no longer a symbol of death for the world as it once was under the rule of the Roman Empire. But today it is a symbol of life and hope. Hope that God is there and that his grace and love still abound. And so as we look to that symbol and meditate on all that it means and holds for us, may it in the midst of our worries and fears this night bring us hope. Hope because the cross is not the end of the story, it's the beginning. In the midst of life, we are in death. Yes, I suppose that's true. But in the midst of death, we are also in life. And that is so because of what happened this day. And may that truth always give us courage in whatever comes our way. Amen.